come. This is Percy. She's very determined. And this is Percy's roadmap to success. That was just a quick little microcosm. I asked her, I wanted her up here for the shot. She didn't want to come up. So I pull out a treat like this and said, Percy, now she's coming to get it. Before she didn't. I think she's waiting for me to give the treat to her. I think her guardians have been really nice to her. And we do that often to be nice. And we think of it as a nicety. And often it causes the dog to get confused and thinking that we're their servant or that these things are expected. So, yes, she's very determined. She's a sweet girl, but she likes to grumble. So remember, when you're doing all the exercise and stuff we were talking about, if you want to mitigate the grumble, which I think probably wouldn't be a bad idea for you guys. So as soon as she starts grumbling, then the game stops. The very first grumble, we stop the game, whether it's playing tug of war, the focus exercise, the touch, any of those things. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about exercise. I'm going to talk about going to the dog park. So a lot of us, we go to the dog park, and most people think of the dog park as a gym. But it's actually more like a Starbucks. And although this is LA and probably does happen, you normally don't go to Starbucks and bust out 50 push-ups. So most of us take our dogs to the dog park for exercise. It's a social interaction. So you should exercise your dog before the dog park. Now, this is what I was talking about. She thinks she does this and she gets her way. So you got to stop giving her any reaction or any of that stuff. Otherwise, she can continue doing it. It's not aggression. She's just being vocal. But a lot of people are ignorant, and pitties, unfortunately, have a bad rep, and they shouldn't. So when you go to the dog park, I'm going to talk about when you're in there first. So if you're in there and her level of energy gets above level 5, the midway point, I want you to grab her, and you're going to reach here around her, but you're going to grab and put your hands right here on each side of her hip, and you're going to pull her back away. This is also the technique you would use if she's in a dog fight. If it's a bad dog fight, throw water on them. That's the best way. It shocks their system. So that's why I always try to bring a big gulp type of, the water bottles we have, like mine right there on the floor, do a little bit. If you have a big gulp, something like this, and you throw it, you're going to get that, the big chunk of water that you need. So, okay, you're going to watch her when she's at the dog park. Anytime her level of energy gets above the midway point, she gets an automatic timeout. Keep on moving her away from the other dogs. If the other people won't help you and their dog keeps on coming, leave the park. Don't leave the area. Just leave the immediate into your inside part of the park and wait for her to settle down and then bring her back. If you consistently interrupt her, she'll eventually learn 4.9 and less. The good times keep rolling, and it's going to be better for her to control herself. She's going to get less trouble. The play is going to look less intense to other people, and so they're going to help. It's just going to be beneficial across the board. So when I go to the dog park, the guardians here walk her to the dog park. It's about a mile away. So it'd be hey sweetheart, it'd be a good idea to walk her to the dog park a couple times and not go in. That's great desensitization. So when you after you do that a couple times, she's like, oh, sometimes we go to the dog park, sometimes we don't. When we actually go into the dog park, there's usually what we call a transition box, a box with a room with 2 little doors to it, so it keeps the dogs from all escaping. So when I go in there, I drop the leash. The leash is still attached. I just drop the leash, and I just wait. And the dog sniffs around. All the other dogs come. They're barking excited. I don't really interrupt unless there's a negative or a reason why. And I wait, and the other dogs eventually will kind of like, you're not coming in. Okay, then they wander off. Your dog kind of whimpers and whines, wants to play with them. Eventually, when the energy settles down, tell her to sit one time. If she doesn't sit, I just wait, just kind of hang out. Now, the guardians should at this point have been doing this at home, so it should be making it easier for her to sit. Yawn. Again, passive training can do a yawn. So basically, once her energy is settled down and you tell her to sit and she sits, then reach for her as if you're going to detach the leash. Now, you'll reach and she's going to start wiggling. Remember, excitement is not the same thing as happiness. Excited is when she's going to make more mistakes. So don't anticipate being able to actually touch her the whole time. Just start reaching for her. And as soon as she starts wiggling, gets excited, you can say it. This is just for you guys. You can talk. There you go.
Percy.
Here you go.
Touch.
Use these.
Good touch.
Use these. But don't say good touch. Just touch. And just make sure you reward her with that treat. Yep. So next time, just have her one ready. If she does it again, then you can redirect her. Now, if she does do something like right there, she was starting to chew the pillow, and the guardian wanted to get her to touch. Remember, when she does that sort of thing, we should interpret that as she needs exercise and take her out for the stairs or whatever else it is. But if we can't do that, we're going to ask her to sit, then lay down, then touch. So have at least one other command in between the stopping of what they're doing. Otherwise, she'll just grab the pillow to do the touch and get the game. So if you put a stopgap measure, that it'd be on that 3-second window. All right, so when you're in that transition box, you wait for your dog to settle down, and when your dog settles down, you tell it to sit. If it sits, then you reach to take the leash off, and you're going to go back and forth. It might take 3, 4. The more you do this, the faster it'll get. Eventually, your dog will just sit down. You can take the leash off right away. But at first, you're just going to reach more and more and more. And as soon as the dog gets excited, you stop and we just wait. I would say sit, when the dog gets up about 4 times, not in a row. But I say sit, the dog sits, I start reaching, she gets up, I pull back, I say sit, she reaches, and I reach. So I'll do that about 4 times. After that 4th time, if I reach and she gets up, I just pull back and I just wait. I don't say anything. She's grumbling for a treat right now, so that's what you're hearing. And I just wait for her to do the sit on her own. And while you're doing this, if somebody else wants to come in and leave the dog park, put her on a leash and take her outside. So don't expect to go in there. And you might actually go to the dog park and just practice this step without actually going in. And that's actually a good thing to do if she's really too excited to go in there. So let's say that's not the case. She's not too excited. So, and I finally achieved where I take, and I can reach all the way towards her and I touch the leash and detach it and she stays seated. So now I'm ready to go in the dog park, but when you go in, all the dogs are going to rush and surround her, and that can create a problem as well. So what I do is, once my dog's achieved a nice calm balance, then I reach and I jiggle the metal fence. That's going to cause all the dogs in the dog park to rush to the door. And I pull back and I just stand there. And some people think you're teasing the dogs. If somebody complains, just say, hey, I'm desensitizing. This is a dog psychology clinical approach. That's exactly what I do. Good job. Guardians here are smart. They learned from just watching me. So it's also the sign for people who are deaf. I don't have anything. So basically, so I reach and jiggle. The dogs come up. I wait for them to walk away. I reach and jiggle. Usually I do that about 3 to 5 times until I reach and jiggle and only one dog or no dogs come up. Now I've achieved my dog being calm. And while I'm doing this jiggle and waiting for the leash, I'm observing the people and the dogs in the dog park. There's nothing wrong with going to the dog park and deciding that dog is being a jerk or their guardian is not paying attention to them and not even go in there. I've had hundreds of clients who have dogs that go to the dog park and have a great experience for years, go and have one dog fight and become dog aggressive. They can't go to the dog park or anywhere else. She needs the dog park. Now is a good time for a target or a touch.
Touch,
okay.
Percy, touch.
And the guardian did a great job that time. Remember, you say her name, get her to look at you, then you throw your hand. And once you throw your hand,
touch.
And if she doesn't come to it, then throw your hand closer to her.
Touch.
And I would just throw it without saying touch at this point,
Percy.
And a little closer instead of further away. And pull it back and chop from your shoulder. There you go. And nope.
Touch.
And right there, always put the treat to your hand, not to the dog's mouth. This is a little bit out of practice. This is exactly what I would practice. So if you want to learn that touch exercise, message me. You guys already know it, but I have a video for my puppy class if you want to refresh, or somebody else wants to watch, or a dog walker or something like that. Let me know. I'm happy to share that with you. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my dog to settle down and the other dogs to not come when I'm jiggling it, I'm observing all those people. And again, if there's a reason, just skip it. Now, if there's no reason, you feel comfortable that there are people who seem to be paying attention to their dog, then go ahead and open the gate quietly and then go in there. Your dog will come in and should be able to take 3, 7, 12 steps before the other dogs recognize, come over. Now your dog's going to meet more on a one-on-one basis, and that's really beneficial. If there's a dog at the dog park your dog doesn't get along with and you like their guardian and can talk to their guardian, ask them, hey, would you mind if we go for a walk around the exterior of the dog park together? If dogs have a problem, I always try to get them to do a shared experience, something that they enjoy doing. So if both dogs are walking and we're in a line, whoever's in front is going to be in charge. So if we can achieve it where it's dog or human, dog, and we're all walking in line around the dog park, the dogs both have that shared experience, then they go in. That's a nice way to have them kind of meet in a nice neutral territory and somewhat distracted status so that there's no posturing. Sit. That's passive training. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so other forms of exercise. You can use a snuffle mat. I would recommend making or ordering one of those. Take it up after the food is gone. You can wash those, and you probably should wash those in a dishwasher or a washing machine every once in a while. They get a little funky from the drool. You can also get a treat ball. There's a bunch of puzzles and games. She's a smart pitty, so I would find some of those so that you can actually feed her some of those things. Or when she's being really like the Omega treat ball, if you can't take her out for exercise, that would be a great thing to load it up with some high-value treats like the ones I brought, and maybe some of her kibble, and let her roll it around. It distracts her, preoccupies her. She likes it. She gets rewards. She's using her brain in her nose, which is draining. So it's not ideal. I'd rather just have you use the benefit of feeding her meals out of those, but in a pinch, you could use that as a form of exercise as well. We tried the laser. She wasn't that interested in the laser, and she has an issue with the stairs. So remember, try to find a staircase, a long staircase somewhere near that's closed. The steps are all closed together, and then throw the treat. Remember, she goes down there, call it Mexico, call her to the top, and give her another one Canada, and do it with an empty stomach the first time. Keep throwing those treats till she's like, "You're crazy." I have another 77 times. I'm not going down there anymore. That's her maximum number. She should be exercised 50 to 75% of that maximum number 3 to 5 times a day. Exercise for dogs is best done about every 2 to 4 hours. And then the Omega Treat Ball and the Supplement, like I said, are great ways to do it. Also, Google scent games. There's a lot of them out there. You can buy DVDs and books and stuff, but there's a lot of stuff for free that you can check out. You can either hide treats, and every time she finds a treat, you say search or hide or hunt or whatever the command word is when she licks it up. Or anytime you give her a treat, the treat goes in the mouth first, here's the command word, and only the command word after the treat's on her lips, on her tongue. Another one, you can have like a bait target of some sort, and you hide it around your house, and she's got to go look for that specific smell. And dogs using the nose is a great way to burn some energy. And remember, on walks, letting her sniff burns more energy than actually the locomotion of walking. Okay, so exercise in her case, I'm guessing she's probably about 2.5. I don't think she's a 3-year-old puppy. She's a rescue, so we don't know for sure, but her teeth look so white. I would be really surprised, especially if she's a street dog, to have teeth that good and still be 3 years of age, unless the guardians are brushing her teeth really regularly. Most people don't. Okay, we also talked about dog psychology and how dogs learn. Remember, anything your dog is doing when you pet it or give it attention is what you're amplifying. And good attention and bad attention from us is the same thing pretty much to dogs. So if she barks and we correct her, or she chews her dog bed and we say no, or she grabs a pillow and we do something, all of the things that get our attention that we don't like is what she's going to do to emulate. So instead, we want to reward her for the things that we like. So passive training is what I call it. And basically what it is recognizing and rewarding the dog when they do the things that you want. So a couple of things that she did that were unorthodox. She stretched. Every time she stretched, pet her and say stretch. And I would go, this is my hand signal. So a dog would stretch, and I'd pet him on the chin and say stretch. And I could say stretch, and the dog would stick their ass in the air and waggle their tail and do it 10 times in a row on command. It takes about 3 or 4 months for the dog to get the verbal cue for that. Every time my dog yawned, you can pet for yawning. Yawning is a calming signal. Every time your dog gets a toy, name all your individual toys. She brings that one, call it keys. Just come up with funny names. And remember, dogs can read facial expressions. So from now on, all the command words that you guys come up with, I'd like you to come up with a funny word that's going to make you or your partner or your friends or people who are going to come and visit chuckle. We have dogs that have, I wouldn't say she has aggression issues, but just bringing that light levity to the situation is very, very helpful. Okay, so passive training is rewarding her when she organically does the things you want. Every time she comes to you, pet her under her chin and say, come. When she sits, pet her and say, sit. Lay down is pretty obvious. Come up with a word for her to eat her food. Every time for 4 months, she takes her first bite of food, you say sushi, or whatever the word is you want to use. Every time she goes to the dog bed, call it Fiji. For the dog bed, Groupon is the best place to get them, I found. I get the Sealy or memory foam, or the Sealy Posturepedic or memory foam. It's not actually Sealy, just labeled that. And I get a light cream, white or light gray with no pattern. I prefer the one that looks like a cushion like this that does not have kind of like the one that you guys have now, because the crevices, the treats get hidden in. You can get the one where it has like the back and the side, so one side is open. That would be okay as well, because that way it's kind of like a craps thing. You throw the treat in there, it kind of stays in there. Now remember, we get her to go there. First way was we throw the treat, and when she licks it up, we say Fiji. And the different dog bed should, and I'm talking about the bed as well. But if there's another dog bed in another room, you move into a house later on, there's a different dog bed in each room. Each dog bed should have its own unique designation. So what you want to do is you throw about 10 treats in a row, and then every time she has at least one paw on it and licks it up, you say Fiji or whatever the word is. The second way I do it is I leave a treat on the dog bed without telling her, without her seeing me do it, and I just wait for and observe her. Don't point it out. Let her find it on her own, and when she does, say the word Fiji or whatever the word is. Third way is I lure it onto it with a sit or a down, and then put the treat and say Fiji as well. These are 3 ways to entice her to go there. Once she goes there, then you should pull out a treat and throw it. That's why I like throwing it here, because you got to play a little basketball. So now I go here and it rains treats. Why wasn't I on this dog bed from the jump? Now remember, you can get that elevated dog bed, dog rest, or there are different names for it, but it's usually PVC pipe. Those are dogs that like to chew up the dog beds. You might want to get one of those temporarily, get her used to that area, and then when you get a dog bed, put it on top of that. And if you're getting her enough exercise and she's gotten out of a habit of doing it, she might stop chewing it. But don't get one with all the tassels. I think that's just, she thinks that bed is asking for it. Okay, so now remember, anything that your dog is doing in terms of an unbalanced state of mind and you pet is also what you're going to amplify. The most common one of these things is excitement. So when you come home, I would open the door a crack push your foot up against it and pull your foot against the door so it's open a little bit, but she can't get out, and wait for her to settle down. If you get one of those weird mirrors that we talked about, put so you can see what she's doing. When she calms down, open the door. She opens the door, she'll wiggle and start pulling back, then pull the door closed. And I want you to think about this, not just for the when you're coming in, anything she does to get excited, how can I start and stop that process? So when she's calm, we start the process. When she gets excited, we stop the process. We don't correct her. We don't punish her. We don't say no. The process or the activity or stimulus just stops. And it's really important if you are consistent about that, she'll learn a lot faster than any verbal cues that we give them. Now remember, when she's calm, come up with a command word for being settled. So right now is a good time to pet her and say settle or zen or Buddha. Whatever the word is you want to say it, make sure your strokes are very slow, 12 inches for every 1 second. So in her case, about a 3-second stroke from her collar to the base of her tail. And I would just say it once or twice. Then you can keep on stroking her, but you're putting it in context. When you come home, if your dog's excited, you say calm down. Well, calm down means get excited. The guardians here also have a tendency to say good dog a lot when they think that she's nervous or anxious, so be wary of that. Come up with a watchword amongst yourselves. So you just say, reinforcer or whatever that means. We probably shouldn't be saying that because we just don't realize how often we do it. We mean the best, but we inadvertently create a command word to do exactly the opposite of what we're looking to accomplish. Now, petting with a purpose is something else we went over. So if you want to pet her or she comes up and nudges you, if she nudges you and you pet her, she told you what to do and you listened and you validated and you petted her. So that tells her that we're not peers. Lack of rules is peers. I tell you what to do and you do it, I have dominion over you. So next time she nudges you, give her a counter order. Tell her to sit. If she's already sitting here, ask her to sit over here or ask her to lay down. If she does it within 3 seconds, pet her under her chin, say sit or down, whatever the word is, and then pet her as much or as little as you want, once to an infinity number of pets. After a while, what she'll realize is that I can't tell the humans what to do. I have to ask, and better than ask, I have to pay for the privilege of their attention. And she'll start sitting in front of you to prepay for attention or laying down. When she does, make sure you pet her, otherwise she'll go back to nudging you. And now she knows some of the things that you like her to do, because through your actions, through passive training and petting with a purpose, you're showing her the things that you want because you are rewarding her. Think of everything that she does as a job, and your petting is a payment. Are you paying her for the job she wants to do, or are you paying her for the job you want to do? After a while, like I said, she'll start prepaying for the attention. Make sure you recognize that. Now, I use watchwords as well. So if I say paycheck, that means I suspect you forgot to pet with a purpose. So if I walk in the room and see one of the guardians petting her and she's standing, I say paycheck, they have to stop petting even if they did it right and I'm wrong. They still stop petting. They say sit. When she sits, pet her under, remember, pet under her chin. And just never over her head, but preferably under her chin. And then say sit, or whatever the command word is. And then I can say, actually, I asked her to sit. When you opened the door, she stood up and I continued petting her, but thank you. I do forget to pet without a purpose. So it's a gentle reminder. I say celebrate for passive training. Come. This is an example of passive training. She came, I didn't ask her, I didn't show her any treats. She came and she got a reward. Most of the time when we give a dog a command, it's the end of fun, so we train them to not listen to us. So this is why passive training is so great, because we didn't ask her to do it. We're just rewarding her when she does it on her own. Okay, I also use vocabulary. If you're saying a different version of the command word, try to say just come, not come here, over here girl, just come. I say repeat or rerun if we're repeating the command word. The more you say it, the less you mean it. You will train your dog to ignore you and not listen for that word. Eventually, they'll stop listening for it altogether. I've had a lot of clients, I have to change it from come to here because they've obliterated come and they won't listen to it anymore. And say vocabulary if you're using the wrong version of the word. And you might come up with other watchwords for other things that you guys, if you're saying good girl, say bad girl, or whatever it is that helps you recognize what you're doing. We also talk about rules. She doesn't really have a lot of rules, and a lack of rules confuses dogs and thinking we're peers. So some of the rules I went over: not being allowed in the furniture, target or touch. She grabbed the pillow again. But if she grabs the pillow, so now she's going to ask her to sit.
Sit.
Now she's going to do the touch.
Touch.
And pull back and bear chop.
Touch.
So pull back all the way to your elbow and like do a whole tomahawk.
Touch.
So all arm, you're still going like this. There you go. And pull it back and chop a little closer. And a little bit lower. So when you're chopping, you want to really chop on the right or left side of their head. Guardian was chopping in kind of in front and a little bit higher. And you can say her name with the octave change.
Percy.
Percy. Now, if she's using her nose as she was there, it's really hard to compete with the nose. So at that point, you might have to actually literally touch the nose, the treat to the nose. But right there, the guardian still was holding a little bit high, so if it's a little bit out of her purview, make sure it's at nose level, so she's not tilting her head up, she's coming touching. And I would practice the touch exercise until you can get her from 15 feet away to come to you. Remember, once you chop your hands frozen, move the treat to that hand. I love doing this because after I do a puppy class, it looks like the force. I go like this, the dog will follow my hand wherever I go. Okay, so let me see. So other rules, and we'll talk about focus here in a sec. So other rules: not being allowed within 7 feet of humans who are eating. So I would put the painter's tape down there, probably from the line of that cabinet there over here. When you're eating here, she's not allowed to go from that line to maybe where your carpet has that white section on the far side of the white section. So she go to her dog bed in the fireplace, she just can't come here while you're eating. When you're eating at the table, if you ever eat at the table, she shouldn't be allowed to go there. You should also not allow her to be in the kitchen. If you forget how to do that, the escalated consequences, if you go to my website, doggonproblems.com, click on where it says dog training tips, that's where I have all these videos. Type in invisible line. There's a bunch of videos where I show people how to establish invisible line. It's really easy. If you have questions, message me, but you can just go there and figure it out directly. Don't be afraid to set up practice sessions. So if the dog misbehaves, ask yourself, have I taught the dog how it's supposed to behave there? If not, how can I make it the easiest version of that possible? And how can it set the dog up for success? Maybe we exercise the dog first. Then we do an easier version of it. And then we basically do step by step. Break it down in individual segments or steps and practice the first segment over and over until the dog is behaving the way you want consistently. Then go to the second one and then the third one. It might take several practices, but eventually you'll get the dog to be able to do all the individual steps. Then you string them together, then you make it more and more difficult. Remember, now, leave it is not taking possession of it. Drop is dropping something they already has possession of. So when she has one of her toys that she's allowed to have and she has it in her mouth, quietly sneak out a treat, go over there, touch her nose with it, and just hold it right here. Don't give her any command. She'll try to take it with the object in her mouth, and she'll figure out she can't do that. When she puts the object down, don't show any interest in it. When she comes back up, pop it in her mouth, say the word drop, and walk away. So what you're saying is when you have good stuff, if I ask you to drop it, I'm going to give you better stuff than you get original stuff back. Well, that's a really good deal. And after you do that enough with the items she's allowed to have at any point, then if she grabs your underwear or your shoes, your remote control, you say drop, she spits it out because you've already established that you're not a thief and that giving up stuff is good for her. Other rules, you got to sit at the door before I let you go out. So she already kind of has a little bit of this. So what I do is I go to the door, I say sit once. If she doesn't sit within 3 seconds, I walk away, sit down, wait 1 minute, and then go back to the door and tell her, don't ask her.
Percy.
If she doesn't do it this time, I walk within 3 seconds, I walk away and I sit down for 2 minutes. Next time I sit down and wait for 4 minutes, then 8 minutes. And right there, the guardian gave her a command. She didn't do it. Now the guardian is trying to redirect her away from the pill. So I'd have the guardian now walk towards the door and play a little hard to get. And then, so now Percy's like, oh, she's not catering on me. So now maybe turn sideways so she's on your side. And there you go. So now the guardian just walked away. The guardian's very pretty. So she walked away, and I'm sure she did this to all the guys when she was single. But she looked once, and then she ignored and reeled him in like a fish. And that's exactly what she did for Percy there. Percy was waiting for her to come to her. I think the guardians have been nice, but in the dog world, the dog has got the impression that they're here to service me. So if she doesn't do that, then walk away. And you got the treat, she's going to come to you. And whenever possible, try to always orchestrate it where the dog has to come to you to put the leash on or to play. If you go to them, if I go ask a girl out, she's in the driver's seat. If a girl comes and asks me out, I'll be like, sweet, it finally happened. But no, if a girl comes and asks me out, then I'm in the driver's seat. So I want the dog to come to you so that you're in the driver's seat. Okay, so let me see. Other rules. I'm trying to think. Make sure you're eating something before you feed the dog. And again, feed her out of the supplements and the rest of that stuff. Went over the escalating consequences. I'm not going to go over those with you here, but if you forget what those are, message me and I'm happy to share that, talk to you about that over the phone. Last thing we did was the focus exercise. I also have videos for the focus on my website. I've done this to hundreds and hundreds of dogs. There's probably a plethora of videos to watch. Remember, it's 1 second up, 1 second in the dog's mouth. Do not hold it at your nose. And don't go like here and then start going really slow. 1 second, 1 second until the dog's staring at you like a stalker for all 12 treats. And I do 12 treats per practice session. Make sure you practice in different parts of your house. And within 7 days, get to the point where you can go 15 seconds on that second movement. And make sure when you're doing it, you can see the dog's eyes and the treat is kind of a triangle. And don't twist your wrist. When you're doing it, watch my wrist here and here. If you go like this and you turn here, the dog will be looking down. And the whole point of this is promote looking at you in the face. So watch the video because it'll explain, just search for it. And if you can't find it, message me. I'm happy to share a link with you. All right, Percy. Well, this good-looking Pitbull is Percy. I just lured her over here with a fake, I didn't actually have a treat, but sit. Good passive training there. Well, this is Percy, if you can see her, and this is Percy's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.